All right, we're back. Internet, I think, went out for a minute, so everything looks good now. So yeah, everything is now working. And again, this will actually be the last video with this in this section. But if you reload and empty the cache and try to load it, nothing will happen at first because it's like loading the WASM code. And then once it's loaded, everything will work fine. So it'll run the program. Once that happens, you can refresh and it gets cached and then runs faster after that. So a couple things I did to fix that, but before I get to that, I want to talk about, well, one of the errors that I was getting. Talk about that. So I was getting an error. I forgot it said something about something was undefined. And then I realized, I'll just go through some of these. So I just was reading through another error. This is what I was reading? I think this is what I was reading. I don't remember why. But, oh, I remember why I was reading this, how to export a function. I'll get back to that. So, and I saw this on runtime initialize, and I was like, that might help me with my other problem. So I searched for it on the search on this site and found that in the FAQ, and maybe it's somewhere else, I just didn't read it. This is something you want to set up where um, you give it a callback function, and then it gets called as soon as everything gets initialized. It says, how can I tell when the page is fully loaded and is safe to call compiled functions? Okay, so that's one thing. Got that working. And close those. Um, I guess going back to that thing I was just looking at, um, another thing that happened is I needed to export another function, and it's to free the memory, and I'll get more into this in a little bit. And the reason I needed to do that, or I mean, when I was trying to do that, I could not get access to this function, and I realized when I was building it on the server that I forgot to I copied over the WASM file into the site and then published it like I've been doing, but I forgot to copy over the JS file because the JS file had then changed because I'm exporting another function, and that JS file that gets generated when it glues your C code and or C++ code and JavaScript together. So that's why I was not getting access to it. So if you're ever having issues not getting access to a function, just make sure you also move your JS code if you've made changes like that. And the one thing, let me see if I can pull that up. The one thing that I needed to add was this. I just needed to add this underscore free, and free is part of um, the C standard library that I imported up here, and the other part of that is malloc memory allocation. So I'll get back to that in a minute. But um, so yeah, that fixed that issue. Let me go through some of the other stuff. There's one quick thing I want to get to while I'm thinking about it right now. So when I start working on the project, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do, but I thought it would be cool to like have access to like a pandas data frame in JavaScript, access to like the underlying NumPy or NumPy array, however you say that, um, ND array, and then be able to like read that real time, so I could like update it on the through making calls to the Python code, and then like that would be my database basically instead of just a JSON object. But I don't know if that's going to work, but just a thought. And if it was to work, I think this is how I would do it using Python buffer objects. So I'll get back to that. But while I was reading that, I also found out that I might be having an issue, or I might have an issue in the future with what I'm already doing and what I will be doing, which is anytime a Python to JavaScript translation occurs, so they're talking about types. This is under the type translations. It may create a Pi proxy. To avoid memory leaks, you must store the Pi proxy and destroy it. So I have to remember to do that, because I don't think I did that before. So let's see an example. Calling Python objects from JavaScript. So it's returning an array or a list. It gets converted to an array, and then is a result of a Pi proxy of a list. So you have to destroy it. So I don't know for sure if I have that set up. I don't remember. I think I might, and the way I have it set up, I might have to worry about that. I'm not sure. So let me close these out for now. And what else did I look at on here? Oh, web workers, right. Uh, so this is an issue I might run into, and I've already kind of discussed it. I already kind of discussed this, but basically I might need to run Pyodide in a web worker. So we'll get back to that. What else? JavaScript, whatever. UTF-8. So this UTF-8 thing, I had to use this. So I tried to use it earlier, but you have to use it on a pointer, and I was just using it like on a string. So when you say return type is string, that will be a string. It's not a pointer. And they say in the documentation, um, where is that exactly? It's over here. Number. So a number corresponds to a C integer, float, or general pointer. So if you want a pointer back, you'll use a number. A string for JavaScript string. Is it talking about return types? So right here is talking about parameter types. So it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, but this is parameter types, not return types. So where did it talk about return types, which is, I don't remember. There's a couple things I wanted to go over in here. We already looked at this. So this is what I'm doing here. Code being calls, if you pass a string, so they're talking about passing a string from JavaScript into it, but I still had to use this malloc to get everything working without the warnings that I was getting before. Yeah, return type, here we go. Use number for any C pointer. So, you know what, maybe I could have done this. I don't know, maybe not. So, that's that, I think. Probably just be easier to show the code. Accessing memory. Is there anything I want to go over here? Not really. Okay. After compiling, exported functions affects compilation if you compile for its own object. Uh, there was one other thing I wanted to go over in here. I forgot what it was. I don't remember. This thing I want to talk about, again, free version to a pointer allocates memory, which needs to be freed up via a call to free pointer afterwards or free in JavaScript. Char pointer received from C++ can be converted to a JavaScript string using that, which is what I'm doing right now. Okay. And then this is just talking about allocating memory. So for dynamically allocating memory, I guess that could be the heap or the stack, but in our case, we want it to be the heap, because we want to have access to it after the function finishes. And that's what we're doing, and I'll show that in a minute. What else? Is there anything else in here? I don't think so. Another thing, string length returns the length of the string in terms of bytes. So We'll get to that in a minute, but I'm using it here. Okay. And then this was a helpful thing. And I was basically wanted to know how I could copy using C-string with string copy. What did I convert string to char array in C++, right? So that was an issue I was having. And the main issue I was having is this will return a const char pointer, and that is fine except for const char pointer is like you can't change it once it's done. So that wouldn't work for me because what I need to do is allocate some memory on the heap and then return that from the function so then I could access it from outside. So that's why I had to do this. And so it's kind of like what I had before. Output string is output stream str. We already saw that. That gives us back a standard string, C++ string. And then um, this is another way to declare a this is another way to declare a like a char array where you can store strings. But you can't. Forgot what the issue was with this. I guess that it's not. I don't remember what the issue was with that. That didn't work for me. I had to use malloc and allocate the memory. So we're taking the length of the string in bytes plus one for, I believe, like the line end of line character or something like that. And then we're casting it because malloc returns a void pointer or whatever. And then this is casting it into a char pointer. And then we're storing that in this char array, which is what we need to be able to return. And then we can't just return this because, or no, actually this is just a char pointer that has some memory allocated to it. And then we need to copy this string from here, which is a constant char pointer, into the memory here. And then once we did that, we could return it and access it. Another thing I was thinking is, could we just use new here and then use free on the JavaScript side? And from what I read, you're not supposed to mix those two. If you use free, that should be done because you use malloc. And if you use new, you should be using delete. One thing you could do, maybe, is have a function you can call that just doesn't take anything. And that could call delete in here, but I don't know. I thought that was maybe kind of weird. And then you have to pass like the pointer around, I guess. So again, what this returns is a character pointer. And I'm actually going to clean this up a little bit because I don't need this other stuff. I just left it there to explain some stuff. It probably wasn't the best explanation, but hopefully it made some sense. I did try bringing this function back and calling it, and I got some warning, and to be honest, I didn't really want to mess with it, so I'm just going to remove that. If I ever need a function in the future or want a separate function to call, I'll look back into that. But for now, I'm just gonna I'll leave that as a comment in there. Maybe I'll try it sometime later. I'm gonna move on. This I could remove. And is there another comment somewhere? I don't think so. They're in those, that's fine. All right, cool. And then again, I had to import or include this C standard library to be able to use malloc. So, all right. So that's that on the JavaScript side. So again, I already kind of explained it. It's returning, this is the return type. This is the parameter type. So as a return type, it's a number, which is a pointer. And that pointer, um, we can use this function, as we saw earlier, to turn that pointer, if it's a char pointer, into a string, and it is. And then I'm just storing that inside of a JavaScript variable. Once we do that and store in a variable in JavaScript, we can just free that memory and pass it the pointer. So that's what's going on here. I already went over the stuff up here. So yeah, one thing I could do is just put like init here. So I could, well, like that, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit more clear to me at least to read what's going on there, at least for now. But maybe if it gets more, I don't see it happening, but if there's more stuff there, it'll be a little bit easier to read if I do it the other way. I don't know. Everything else is still good. I kind of cleaned this up a little bit. I got rid of this init function because I just put it inside of the other function, the stuff I was doing, which was basically just this. So I'm gonna actually remove that now. And then again, this init function is only called after the runtime is initialized, so it got rid of that other error we had. So that's good. Self on message again is declared only after that. I'm wondering if I could just move this out, and maybe I'll have to. I'm not sure what I want to do with that, because this I could just do some handling within this to make sure that no code is run. In fact, I'm already doing it right now, kind of. What I'm saying, if this is not actually this doesn't really do anything, I don't think, but I'll leave it in there just in case for now. Basically, if this is not if it's null and it's not set, or basically if it's undefined or whatever, or not undefined but not set yet, then yeah, it will just return that message. But right now I don't think it does anything. I think that's it. I'll delete this. It's a lot cleaner than it was, I think. I'm pretty happy with it now. What else? I think that's good. Oh, I can delete this. I don't know why that's still there. Okay, so that's good for that. What else do I want to go over? Um, oh, another thing too is I had this minimum still here, and I don't need that because I'm importing it from the worker. So I'll leave that there for now, but pretty sure I don't need that for anything, at least not right now. Um, I guess another thing I might have went over before, um, but the worker does not have access to the module. I'm sorry, the main script does not have access to the module. It only exists in the worker. So you can't like just come in the way I have it set up to here and like do module dot whatever, right? It's not going to do anything. So I think I already talked about that. Okay. Oh, another thing I wanted to just quickly mention too is the whole time I've been developing, I've been using this flag for the optimization, and that's good if you're gonna create like a build that, you know, I don't know if I want to say production build, but a build that like is optimized a lot, and then that's what you'd probably use. I mean, there's some other options too, but while I've been developing, I probably should be using some of the ones that are faster and not as optimized because I tried one of them out. I got an error, but it was late and I didn't look into it. But I tried one of them out and it built really fast. So something I probably should have been doing the whole time. And was that everything I wanted to go over? Let me double check. That might have been it. I think that was it. I got my basic setup going. I went over all the stuff in here, I think. Yes. Nice. And then here, is there anything else that I'm missing that I didn't talk about? I don't think so. yeah, I think I talked about everything. So cool. I think that'll wrap up this stream. Let me make sure there's no tabs I didn't talk about. Yeah, this is basically what I was talking about earlier. If you use new, you must use delete. If you use malloc, you must use free. So I don't know if that's 100% true, but it's everything I read. It's a bad idea to mix those. That's probably one of the reasons. All right, and this is another reason. So yeah, don't mix those. One more comment about that. Same thing, same idea. Okay, I think I already talked about this. Nothing to say there. I know there's one thing I'm missing, but I don't think it's that important. Or maybe I went over it. I think that's it. I already showed that I was exporting that. Okay. And they do talk about it. Is it in? I don't know, they mention it, but notice how in here I have this underscore, the name of the function, and then underscore free. When I refer to free, I have to maintain the underscore, but when I use crap and I pass in the function I'm trying to wrap, you do not include the underscore. And then obviously you assign the value, the return value to a variable, and then you just call that. But when you originally passed this in, you did not include the underscore, even though you do include it in the compile step. Okay, I talked about this. That's working now. Talked about the optimization settings. So yeah, this is what I talked about earlier, is void pointer. That has the same, malloc has the same return type as this, so, and it says that's okay in a C program, but not in a C++ program. You can't do that. So you can change that line to this, right, which is what we saw earlier, what I did, but a better alternative would be to use new, which the way I'm doing it will not work, right? So, because you can't mix those. Again, I could have possibly made it so that after this comes back and I set it to the JavaScript script string, I could call another function, pass that pointer back, and then have it call delete again. But I thought that was that would be a little bit unnecessary and not ideal. So I didn't do that. So I talked about this already and close that. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. I have my basics set up, so I'm ready to go with my project. Building it out. I'm sure I'm gonna run into a lot of issues. I'm sure I'm gonna have to come back in and modify things, but it is definitely at least returning what I'm looking for. Um, so yeah, on to the next step, and there will be hopefully a lot more Python in the next one, um, and JavaScript and stuff, because I'm looking forward to getting back to that. I do like C++, but it's I'm ready to just do some Python to be honest. So cool. So yeah, the plan, I kind of already talked about it, is I probably want to just start with what the file that had the salaries and all that, run that through all the way through, from start to finish, and then see what that does and go from there. Once I get that part working, um, then I think we're on our way. So cool. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna change the title of the stream to match the new project, and then I might take a break. I might come back right away. Not sure. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna take a little break, and then probably be back in a little bit and start that one. But yeah, thanks for watching.